This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Hey guys, this episode today is brought to you by our good friends here on the podcast of the Even app. What is the Even app? Even is designed for people like you that may need a little stretch during the pay period. You need a little advance. You got to pay that upcoming bill, that next mortgage payment, maybe that next rent payment, whatever the case may be. Head over to the Google Play Store or Apple Store and download the Even app. It is designed for payday advances, and also you can even bank with the app. Yes, they have a banking feature, folks, as well as an automated savings feature. Head over to Even, EVEN app. Download them, check them out, and make sure you tell them that you heard it on the Patriot Angle podcast, guys. It's a great app. Download it today. I think you'll be really, really impressed with their services.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. This is the Patriot Brief.
All right, guys, let's get the show started, huh? Hey, guys, welcome to the Patriot Brief. Got on the phone here a fellow Patriot and the man from this Facebook group, U.S. Freedom Fighters. Got on the phone, Jerry from Freedom Fighters. What's up, Jerry?
Good afternoon. How is everyone? It's a great day to be an American, isn't it?
God bless you, man. It's great to be an American. You know what I tell you? It's great to be a conservative too.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, this is my own personal wording coming from me. I've been trying to get you or somebody from U.S. Freedom Fighters on my podcast because you guys have that group on Facebook that says it all, U.S. Freedom Fighters. And like you said, you guys are not aggressive. You're just trying to do the right thing, for all Americans.
That is so true. And, you brought up a good point. We have discussed recently the fighter in our name, U.S. Freedom Fighters. And, a lot of people seem to think that we are a militia or aggressive type group, and that's not our case by any means. What the fighter party is to us is we're fighting to live a simple life without government control. We're not against the government. They have their place. It's just not in all of our lives.
Yeah, but see, you're bringing up a point right now, and the point you're bringing up is I share the same point with you, Jerry. I'm a fellow patriot just like you. I'm a podcast host. I'm a conservative. I do other lines of work, which I won't label on the podcast for privacy issues. But, I'm not against our government, but it seems like our government is against us. And with the reason why I'm saying that is like we're seeing so much tyranny with these mandates, with this masking. I'm not an anti-masker. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. By all means, if you want to get the if you want to get the vaccination, get the vaccination. But I shouldn't be labeled as this and this and that and that and that for not getting it. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I could not agree with you more. My whole life, I've been against labels like you're talking about, vaxxed, unvaxxed. That just plays right into the government's hands. They want us divided because they know divided we can't stand.
Yeah.
And so when they start dividing us like that, they create their perfect storm. You know, at the end of the day, that's one thing I love about U.S. freedom fighters is we accept everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, I care less whether you're vaxxed or unvaxxed. If that's your choice, just respect my right to make that choice also.
Right. And I agree with you. You know, like like what they're doing is, you know, you have you I mean, this is going so far where you have reality TV shows such as like The View and other, you know, other news platforms, CNN, MSNBC. I mean, they're labeling people as, you know, bigots and, you know, you're racist if you don't get the vaccination, you know, you're this, you're that. And it's to be honest with you, Jerry, it's going way too far, way too far. I feel like this is not America anymore. I mean, I'm sure we've seen tyranny of events in the past, you know, with the swine flu of the 1920s and, you know, the 70s and everything. We've seen all that, but I think this tops it all. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's getting way out of hand. You know, I hate to say it, people aren't living life now.
Yeah.
They're just going through their conditioning.
Yeah.
You know, and because even we are so conditioned, anytime anything breaks outside that conditioning, we get fearful.
Yeah.
And that when we get fearful, that makes us want a superhero, and here comes the government.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
the government can't save any of us.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it wasn't designed like that. Our four founding fathers didn't design the government of what it is today. I mean, you know, the government is supposed to, you know, work with us, not against us, and that's what it seems like they're doing. You know, like we can't go to a restaurant in certain states without showing a card or a negative test. I mean, it's gotten so far where, you know, they opened up stadiums and concerts and stuff in a lot of different states. But, you know, in order to participate in those events, again, you have to show a card or, you know, you have to show your vaccination card or a negative test. I mean, where's the freedom? Where's the liberty in that? You know what I mean?
You're so right. And, you know, thankfully, I've started seeing a trend where I'm seeing some musicians stand up and say, hey, I'm not going to play arenas that require a vaccine card.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the time, you know, we're starting to see more people stand up, but we need a whole lot more to stand up.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, here's the reality. If we don't stand up in the world we're living in now,
yeah,
our kids and our grandkids will never have the room in their world to stand up.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not setting a path forward for them. You know, we're making it. I mean, we're not doing it, but our culture, our generation right now, our leaders that are governing us right now, they're not setting examples for the next generation. You know, they're bringing in this cancel culture now in schools. They're implying this new word called woke, which I think is just ridiculous, if you ask me. I mean, it's gotten into police departments. It's gotten into the military where everybody's like woke now. I'm like, they're woke. Did they just take a nap or something? That's good that they're woke, you know? I mean, it's.
But, you know, I'll just be honest with you. I know this is kind of veering off a little bit, but I want to share a statement with you.
Go ahead. This
really
show is. Hold on, let me stop you right there. This show is unfiltered. I mean, you're more than welcome to share anything you want to share if you feel comfortable sharing it.
I was talking, you know, with my line of work, I interact with a lot of military people.
Sure.
And I was talking with one of them the other day, and of course, anytime I'm around a service member, I always try to thank them for their service.
Sure.
And luckily, I knew this guy for a while, so I knew what kind of personality he was. And he wasn't being ugly. He was just being very point blank.
Right.
I told him, I said, thank you for your service. He said, yeah, some thanks. I go off to defend our country, and look how the citizens that stayed here have got it screwed up.
Yeah.
that hit hard.
Yeah, I mean,
And that made me step back and look at things.
yeah.
We got those folks out there defending us on foreign land, but we got too many people sitting on their hands and not defending us on our own land.
Yeah, the honor and
by defending, I don't mean getting out there and shooting somebody or beating somebody up. I'm talking about using the voice we were given.
Yeah.
And using the minds that we were given.
Yeah, by God Almighty. I mean, a lot of people are starting to ask that question. Speaking of God, whether you believe in God or you believe in the Spirit, a lot of people are asking, has God given up on this country? Has God given away? Has God walked away? It may seem like that, but there's a purpose. He hasn't given up. There's a purpose, and I think we might see that, in the next midterms of 2022, possibly 2024, with who returning. I don't want to say, I think you know who I'm talking about, and I think the listeners know what I'm talking about, because if you do mention his name, that's when all bad things happen. You're shadow banned, you're censored, you're fact checked. And that's another thing too. I want to get into the fact checking. I don't know if it's really affecting your group page on Facebook, but I get shadow banned and censored like 17 times, probably 20, 30 times a day.
Believe me, we feel that pain too. Actually, we have 3 different Facebook pages.
Yeah.
This latest one, the one you mentioned, the survival group, we had to create it just because our other group was getting censored so much.
Right.
And we were hoping that, maybe if we put survivalists in it, that maybe they wouldn't scrutinize us as hard. So far, it's been working. Time will only tell,
Yeah.
Fact checks are covering up pictures of stuff saying stand your ground. So, where's it going to end?
Where's the freedom of speech in that? It's like, I don't call it fact checking. I call it opinion checking, because you can put, and this is what makes this country so great. I mean, you can post something on social media, and that's your opinion. You might be right, you might be wrong, but it's still your opinion. And that's what this country was designed to be so great, because of opinions, like that's your opinion. It shouldn't be labeled as, oh, you're wrong. And
I agree. And you are absolutely right. I mean, and at some point we're going to have to do something. It's getting so ridiculous. I made a post the other day, didn't mention any names in my post, didn't mention any political offices or anything to relate it to a person.
Right.
But just made some obvious statements.
Right.
It got fact checked. The president did not do this. Well, what did I say in my post? The president done this. It's just getting.
Right. You gotta thank the independent fact checkers out there in what I call the Silicon San Francisco Valley, of California. A lot of these are very young independent fact checkers, and they're usually in college, and they usually do this set aside from their courses. And this is information that I was told. I thought these were, regular workers that work for Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And no, they're independent. Subcontractors that work for these social media platforms. And see, a lot of people don't realize that. They think they're just workers that, that they're employed by Facebook or Twitter. No, they're independent subcontractors. And then they get hired by, Mark Zuckerberg and, Jeff Bezos and, all the others, the big tech companies. And that's what they do for a living. They just on the Google, oh, no, he's wrong. Oh, no, Benjamin Franklin didn't say that. He really meant to say this. I mean, you're
exactly.
You're 27 years old.
A lot of times.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You there? They're definitely fact checking the conversation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
See, as soon as we said that, what happened? The transmission got shot, just like a snap of a finger, you know. But like,
Exactly.
it's
And
terrible.
I see a lot on their fact check stuff, but they can't say that the post is wrong.
Yeah.
But so what do they do instead? They say, well, there's no proof that it's right. Well, if you have it's wrong, how can you call it false?
Exactly. I mean, like some of these fact checkers are as young as 20 something years old, and you're trying to tell me that you know history better than I am? I mean, I'm 41 years old right now, and yeah, I'm still young at heart, but some of these kids, they're the kids to me, like you go to wonder, you're trying to tell me you know history more than me? I think I've been around on the earth longer than you have. I mean, it's silly, it's attack on free speech. It's, your liberties. Like I said, I've said in other podcast episodes, our liberties and freedoms are being, stripped away, like literally day by day, and
I could not agree with you more. And the thing about it, that's why, in my honest opinion, that's why we're seeing this COVID continue to carry on and carry on. If you allow government to have liberty because of a crisis, there'll always be a crisis.
Oh yeah, oh sure, they're not going to let this crisis go to waste. I think quoting the great Sean Hannity the other day on his show, he says, "Nope, these Democrats are not going to let this crisis go to waste. No, they're gonna continue it and continue it and continue it. Like they, but the last month, I think, maybe month and a half, we haven't seen a new variant. So, is Delta still around, or is it the Mu variant, which I thought was kind of hilarious. I posted something on social media about a month ago when they came out with the Mu variant with a giant cow from Oklahoma, and he was doing the moo, and I'm like, oh boy, what are they gonna think of next? More fear mongering.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost got to the point it's comical to watch the news anymore.
Yeah, it's very comical. The fake news, the fake CNN out of Atlanta, Georgia, which I happen to reside in, and I mean it's terrible. It's the tyranny of the radical. I never knew.
Well,
Yeah.
It's just it's plumb ridiculous. Let's look at the big picture. We're talking about the government. We've got people pouring into our country.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to need more of a food supply than ever.
Well, that's
but
why,
yet,
yeah.
You've got the government paying farmers not to grow crops, and if they don't accept that, then they don't get any of their subsidies.
Oh, see,
how is that in the best interest of the American people?
See, that's the next attack. The next attack is going to be on farmers. Like I heard on your podcast the other day, the U.S. Freedom Fighters podcast, that y'all were talking about homestead. Survival, and with the water. I think you mentioned something about water.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's going to be give or take. I don't want to say it though, but it's quite expecting that they're going to probably target towards that. Which, look what they're doing with the farmers. They're going to target homesteading. They're going to target basically stuff in that nature. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can't save rainwater because it's not good, and this and that. I'm like, people have been doing that for 50, 60, 50 years. Like, why is it not good? I mean, people always save rainwater. They use that for irrigation purposes. Like, why is that not good? You'll see that come out of the press. Peppermint Patty there, Jen Psaki, she'll come out with some kind of ridiculous statement. Yeah. But
exactly.
That's
And you know,
yeah.
that you're exactly right. And you know, it's going to get worse. You know, I hate to say this. I see a lot of patriots talking about wanting to get out and protest and so forth. And now, you know, I'm not against people doing that.
Yeah.
But I tell you, in the political climate we're in now, it's very dangerous to do that.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, my opinion, the time for protesting has passed.
Yeah.
It's time to do two things: vote and try to change things,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
prepare in case things don't change.
Yeah, I agree, because protesting will only get you so far. And I mean, you can rant and rave and do this and stand on a corner with a picket sign and shout to the high heavens, but at the end of the day, these tyrants, they're still going to do the same
Well,
thing.
I'm kind of a bit of a realist. You know, if the politicians are already not listening to the American people who elected them, then what good is protesting going to do?
Exactly.
They're sure not going to listen then either.
Exactly. I mean, who the hell is to believe
So,
that Joe Biden got more than 80 million votes, last November? You know what I mean? God, it's just.
you know, I wished I had a clear answer to give your viewers and our viewers of the path forward to get us to that perfect scenario.
Yeah.
But honestly, I can't tell you exactly how to get there, but I can tell you that it's going to include each and every one of us learning to be dependent on self. Instead of dependent on government.
Well, we were learning that under Trump. Trump was teaching us that we were becoming energy independent. We were learning how to take care of ourselves instead of relying on
Absolutely.
government. And all of a sudden, in November to December, it basically went back in reverse. The brakes got applied, and boom, we're getting set back further and further and further. I mean, Biden has taken us past the Obama years, past the Bush years. I mean, we're going backwards in time. We're not going forward. I mean, it's
absolutely,
it's terrible. I mean, the cost of food
as
today
far as a society as a whole, we are going backwards, but at the same time we're going backwards, the government's getting bigger and bigger. How many licenses do we have to have now that we didn't have to have 50 years ago?
Yeah.
100 years ago.
Yeah. And it's everything's going up. The cost of gas in my area is pushing almost $4 and 40 cents, just about. I'm told by friends and family members that live up in the Northeast, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, it's almost like damn near pushing $5. They said it should probably be pushing $5 in the city of New York by the end of the year. I mean, that's terrible. Steak. Did you hear steak? Steak is going to be considered a meat just being affordable to the super rich or wealthy. Steak, yeah. I mean, it's nuts. Cargo ships are being anchored off the coast of California.
Well, here's the thing. The gas should not be as high as it should be. I agree with you. And I honestly feel like we can blame this administration for that.
Well,
but it's not just gas.
Well, hold on for a minute. If Biden didn't end the Keystone Pipeline, we would have been fine. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're seeing prices go up across the board. Now, I'm no Ivy League man or anything like that, but I know a lot of people, and I cannot for the life of me make sense of why I am having to pay more at the checkout counter for meat and various products, but the people that are producing it are seeing less and less money.
Yeah.
Where does that money go in between the two?
I think we know where it's going. It's
Absolutely agreed.
it's going it's going overseas. I mean, you know, this administration clearly
Absolutely.
doesn't have any interest in the American people. We've seen it. We've seen it with these migrants coming across. You know, he does not have any interest whatsoever for the American people. They just, you know, they don't believe in borders. They don't believe in culture, and they don't believe in language. You know, and that's what makes up a country: borders, language, culture. And if you don't have any of those three, you don't have a country. Your country's shot. You know, I mean, every country in this world has those three basic principles, and we're not seeing this from this administration whatsoever. And it's sad. It really is. It's sad. It's sad times. You know.
Very much so.
You know, it's just.
You know, I hate to say it, you know, we may have got some mean tweets occasionally, but at least we had a backbone.
At least he got the job done. You know, at least he got the job done. A president finally for this country with muscle. I mean, the man that's in office right now should, you know, not trying to be mean or anything like that, but should be in a retirement community, a senior citizen home. I mean, he can't say competent sentences. He's incompetent. You know, he's frail. He's weak. He slurs his words constantly. I understand you get that way when you get older, but still, I mean, you know, if it was Donald Trump, he would be impeached. If he left 13 American soldiers dead in Afghanistan, he would be impeached. If he had a huge border crisis that he has right now, Biden, he would be impeached. I mean, what is going on with Pelosi? You know, Ice Cream Pelosi there in San Francisco. I mean, she'll never invoke the 25th Amendment. You know?
Nope.
Terrible.
Well, I hate to say it, but, you know, with her husband dibbling in stock, why would she shoot the cash cow? She keeps Biden in there, then she's got her cash cow all fed and producing.
Yeah. Yep, that's.
I hate to say it, but that's plain simple facts.
Yeah, well, we all know that he's the puppet, and the real puppet masters are the ones that are running the show there on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. There is no way in hell that this man isn't our commander in chief. There's no way in hell that this man is leading this country. No way in hell, and we don't know who's running it really, but you know, hopefully soon we'll be revealed on who the true leader is. You know. But
absolutely. Well, you know, I've always through my life, you know, if I wanted the hard questions answered, I had to go to the top.
Oh yeah.
And talk to that leader.
Sure.
But they won't even let you get near him to ask questions. So what does that say about their own confidence in his ability?
He never answers questions to the press. Exactly. They're afraid. They're afraid he's going to screw up. You know, they let the press secretary there, Peppermint Patty, I call her. You know, they let her deal with the questions. You know.
Absolutely.
Did you hear that last? Did you hear that last statement she said? This was like the other day. She was saying that rising prices in food is a good thing. That means people are shopping more.
Yeah, I heard that. I just had to hang my head and laugh just like I did then. You know,
that's like something my 4 or 5-year-old niece would say. You know, like what do you find these people from? I mean. Boy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unreal. You just have to shake your head sometimes and think, oh, my.
You know,
this reminds me of a statement that I heard years and years ago. It said, a country can survive one bad president.
Yeah.
But a country cannot survive the ignorance that elected that president.
Well, that's true. Amen to that. Amen to that.
And, you know, I hate to say it, a lot of that ignorance that we're seeing in society now is because everybody has tunnel vision.
Oh, yeah. Sure
they focus on they've got their focus on their little corner of the world.
Yeah.
And forget about humanity unless they need something. And if they need something, it's call on Uncle Sam.
Sure.
And Uncle Sam's just standing there smiling to take care of you. Come on.
Yep.
It's the way it is. But we gotta, like I said, I'm gonna close it out here. We gotta keep on fighting the good fight, and I'm a big supporter of you guys there, U.S. Freedom Fighters. Facebook page, guys. If you're looking to join a good group, this is the group for you guys. I mean, very very down to earth people. If they need to reach out to you guys for any purpose or any type of questions, who should they speak to?
They can either speak to either myself or our president Brad. Usually the quickest way to get to us, if you're not already in one of our groups, is to go to the U.S. Freedom Fighters website and email us from that website. That's the quickest way to get a hold of us. Of course, now, as of right now, our survival group is at shadow banned, so you can actually find it if you search for it. So feel free to find us there.
Okay.
Also.
And then I heard through the grapevine on your podcast the other day that you guys are going to be starting a YouTube channel.
We do have
Okay.
We do have a YouTube channel up and coming. Matter of fact, our President Brad, he posted a video on there yesterday, how to make a minnow trap, and then we're getting ready to post one on the very subject we were talking about, water, and how to get water from plants.
Right. Yeah, I tuned into that. That was actually a really good episode. Really, really good episode. That's good. I mean, it's very rare too, because you don't really find a lot of. I don't even think anybody's talking about the stuff that you guys talk about, or any of the content, and it's very rare. And I think that's what America needs. That.
Well, I appreciate it, and to give you an idea, I take my position as the national trainer for U.S. Freedom Fighters very seriously, and I feel as a trainer, if I don't give you every option available to survive whatever comes at you,
right,
then I failed as a trainer. And I don't like failing, so I will do my best.
I'm the same way. I'm very competitive. Yeah. I'm very competitive with whatever I do in life, whether it's, sports or work or, even this podcast, I'm very competitive of whatever I do. If I make a mistake, I'll redo it again until it's perfect. I know we're not perfect as human beings. There's only one perfect person, and that's the Almighty God upstairs. But, you just, I totally agree with you, what you do, and like you said, I'm like, me, or you've gotten to know who I am over this time. I'm basically constantly flooding your group with content over and over. Producer Josh and my good buddy Josh, which is the producer, he's constantly, both of us, constantly flooding that group page, which I think is okay, because it's showing, your followers that, hey, there is, the conservative movement is still alive in this country, and that needs to be heard.
Yes, sir, and we greatly appreciate it, and I know I'm the one speaking to you now, but me and President Brad have spoke a lot, and we are really grateful for the relationship between you and USFF, and look forward to it being a long-lasting relationship that both can prosper from reach out.
I'm glad
to our fellow Americans.
Yeah, I'm glad, myself, producer Josh, and everybody at the podcast here, we're really appreciated as a podcast that we can express our content onto another group such as yourself, because there's a lot of groups out there that won't accept that, because competition and this and that. I don't look at it as competition. I just look at it as spreading the word. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
spreading the good word.
Since you brought that up, if you don't mind, I want to touch on one more thing. You're right. Many groups out there, you got to be a part of our group and our group only. You can't be in any other. That's not the way U.S. Freedom Fighters operates.
Right.
We are open to any groups, any anybody that wants to join, all we ask is while you're in our group that you stay within our mission statement, our goals.
Right.
You know, naturally, we're not wanting you to be out here talking about your militia group going to attack somebody in our group. That's not what we're about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what we do have, we're willing to share with anybody and any groups out there.
Sure.
The only thing is, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, for security purposes, we keep our communication channel frequencies to ourselves, and we keep our bug out locations to ourselves.
Sure.
Outside of that, we share anything else we have.
Sure. Like I have you on right now, you know, literally just, you know, plug in who you are, you know, your first name, and, you know, where, you know, who you are, you know, who you are advocated with, you know, as a whole. You know, I do that for everybody, for privacy issues, you know, because the day of age we live in right now, you know, everybody seems to be like, you know, wanting to attack everybody, and it's just, you know, it shouldn't be like that, you know.
It shouldn't be. We should all be able to respect each other enough to get along.
But, you know, sadly, this is not.
But we've been conditioned.
What's that?
Well, we've been conditioned by society for me to look at the differences between me and you.
Right.
And that's, again, another tool of their division. We have to break past that and look at the common things between us, as we have done, and look at the friendship that has developed from it.
Sure. You know, it's a good partnership that, you know, we have with freedom.
It's up to us to get to live the life we want and deserve, not for the government to tell us what we deserve.
Exactly, and that's the way it should be. But with that being said, Jerry, I'm going to close it out here. Thanks a lot, you know, for coming on and you know, expressing your thoughts and views. Love you guys over there. You guys have some really, really good followers. I mean, you guys are up. You're a lot of people. I've seen it's definitely growing. You know, the movement is definitely alive over there. And it's continuing to grow. You know, we're on our end, it's still growing. We do better on the private end of, you know, through Spotify, Google, and Apple than we do, you know, with social media, because, you know, there's so many trolls out there, you know what I mean, where they really don't support you. You know, all they're looking for is, you know, their you know, little, what I call it, social media fame, where they'll, you know, oh, you know, this and that, and then that's it. You know, there's really no, you know, social media bond between the follower and us, because that's what producer Josh and I were starting to realize, that, you know, there's no bond between. We have a few members of our page, the Patriot Angle Podcast, where there's a bond. You know, we can see that, where there's likes and actual comments coming in from, you know, some of the same people, you know. But other than that, you know, we'll get likes that come in, and then all of a sudden, you know, they'll delete the like or they'll unfollow us, and we're like, okay, well, that's maybe a, you know, a troll, or, you know, a liberal, or this and that. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, we love everybody the same way in any shape or form, but the thing is that's what you're starting to see on social media a lot, you know, where that's where the negativity comes in.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, I kind of look at it this way. You know, I should love everybody's soul, but I don't necessarily have to like everybody's actions. And and those actions I don't like, I'm wise enough to stay away from.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to bring up one thing, since you're talking about that disconnect and not that bond not being there.
Right.
That is one thing I love about the U.S. freedom fighters.
Right.
You know, any one of our members gets down, out, needs somebody to talk to, or hit a hard spot in life, or anything. We're a group, but we're so much more than that. We're a family.
That's awesome. That's the way it should be. You know, that's the way, I mean, I think this country should be. I mean, we're all one united people under the same Almighty God in this country, and that's, you know, sadly, it's not that way anymore. And
Well, it can't be that way because we don't know each other well enough that way anymore because we're so distracted on the goals of life.
Well, I think it's everything. It's diversity. It's this. It's that. It's culture. Well, it's it's just everything that we're seeing now it's separating all that.
Yes, it is.
But
and that's where when the harder the government tries to separate us, that's where we have to try harder and reach harder is extend our hands out to our fellow patriots and come together. And
sure.
It's time, folks.
It is. It's time. Like I said, I got Nicole that joined me, from her podcast, which we made exclusive every Tuesday now. It's exclusive. She never even met this woman, ever. I still haven't met her. We just have a digital bond now where, she comes on this show every Tuesday. We do, audio recordings that we're doing right now. And she just loves the content. And, she said, I'd love to be part of that movement. And, producer Josh and I, we sat down, we talked about it. She actually has it's not a podcast. It's more of a vlogging type of show where she has her show and her content through a group such as yourselves, and she does a lot of these videos where she gets on a personal scale and she gets a little bit into the politics. And you got to check her out. I don't know if you've heard of her, but you can check her out right now if you want on your private leisure. It's Collectively Cole. Collectively Cole.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I can post the link on U.S. Freedom Fighters, and I mean she's. I'm just gonna warn you, Jerry. She's very unfiltered,
Hey,
like me. I'm very.
Most of us are.
Yeah, I'm very unfiltered too. So some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth, man, I just like it. I don't apologize for it because it's that's what makes me an American. But it's just. Yeah, she and I can relate on a very, very huge level.
I'm the same way. I'm highly unfiltered, and I'm like you. I'm not going to apologize for being real. I am who I am.
I hear you, but it was nice chatting with you. Didn't realize that we're like 40, almost 45 minutes into this. I was only going to plan on doing 25, but. We got into it, and Josh isn't here to help me with the editing, so I got a huge amount of editing I have to do for the episode. But that's okay. It only usually takes about an extra half hour for me when Josh is not around because he's a blessing. He's a good friend of mine. He's a good asset to the team here, but he runs his own studio on the other side of the city, so he helps when he can, but
right.
But it's been a blessing, Jerry.
Yes, it definitely has, and just know that U.S. Freedom Fighters are very appreciative of you and your activity within our group, but also in getting our names out.
Sure.
And feel free to tell any of your listeners if they ever have any questions. They can bring them to you, and you can get them to us, or they can come directly to us, and we'll answer any questions that can arise.
Absolutely, my friend. And, I'll do the same. But thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. I've been trying to get you or Brad or anybody from, that group to come on because it's, like I've gotten a couple people, too, that, that had seen the headline where it said U.S. Freedom Fighters, and through my blogs and stuff, my blog or my journal that I have, they're like, who are these guys? Like, you got to get them on the show. You got to get them on the show.
I tell you,
yeah.
I would love for you, President Brad, and myself to sit down and have a conversation. I think
sure,
it would be very beneficial.
Yeah, we can set that up.
And very eye-opening for a lot of folks.
Yeah, we can set that up. Love to have another episode of you guys on. I'd have to talk to Josh and see when we can set it up. Definitely in the near future. That'd be great. a Q&A type of like we're doing right now. That would be kind of cool. But,
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
yeah. But
And I know he's mentioned to me several times about wanting to talk with you himself too.
Sure.
So I think it would be great for all of us, and I'll talk to him about it on our side, and we'll make it happen.
all right, sounds good. All right, Jerry.
Thank you, sir, for having us, and have a great evening.
You do the same. All right, guys, you just heard Jerry from Freedom Fighters, basically on the podcast here, and such an honor to have him. If you guys are wanting to know more information about what they do, you can head over to their Facebook page, Freedom Fighters. Just put in U.S. Freedom Fighters. They pop right up. Very well-known group. Good set of guys over there, Jerry and Brad. Brad, the president there of U.S. Freedom Fighters. If you have any questions, you can reach out to them, or you can personally email me, which is patriotunfiltered1776 at yahoo.com. With that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in. See you on the next one.
Michael Gardner, a host like no other. Unfiltered, unhinged, unscripted, raw. Anchor, Spotify Podcasting Network.